Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending where you are, and welcome to our webinar, Cyber Insurance, Understand It to Sell It. We are very excited for this webinar as we have a lot of really good information to share, so we hope you are as well. My name is Lexi Johnson. I am our professional liability underwriter here at CID Insurance, so I want to welcome you here today. We recently launched a new online cyber quoting platform that allows you, our agents, to go online and receive up to 9 standalone cyber quotes from leading carriers in minutes. So we will have a short demo of how to use this platform towards the end of the webinar. So please stay tuned for that. But first, we have actually one of our carrier partners who will be presenting a very detailed overview on cyber coverage. So we're very lucky to have them here today. Just a quick logistic, all participants on the webinar will be muted, but your voice is still very important to us. So please type out any questions you may have in the chat room and we will stop and answer them throughout the webinar. If we do not have time to address all the questions, we will make sure to respond to you after the webinar. And without further ado, I'm going to let the presenters introduce themselves and then we'll get started.
It looks like I'm first up. My name is Tim Rigilio, Business Development Manager with CID. We are a technology company and we work with wholesale brokers and program managers and by extension their retail agents and help you kind of streamline the quote, bind, and issue process for small cyber policies. And we are thrilled to have one of our great carrier partners with us today talking about cyber, and that's Cowbell Insurance. And I will pass it over to Abimbola to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Tim. Hi, everyone. I'm Abimbola Afalabi, Senior Cyber Marketing Manager here at Cowbell. As Lexi mentioned, we are one of the carriers that are going to be available to you on your quoting platform. A lot of my role involves creating cyber education materials for sales enablement, helping you understand it so you can provide better options to your clients. That being said, I will move it on to Erin.
Hey everyone, I'm Erin Dyer. I support Tim and his team at CID in their placements with Cowbell, and I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
Awesome, thanks Erin. I guess I could jump straight into it. Thank you again for joining us today. And in order for you to understand cyber insurance, we need to understand what cyber incidents are, what cyber criminals look like today, and what they're after. So with my slide up there, I know we've kind of categorized cyber threat actors into the unknown, or like a guy in a hoodie, a guy in a mask in his mom's basement. But understanding cyber incidents are a malicious entry into a network system of an organization by a bad actor that puts your confidential data at risk of being stolen or held for ransom. Cyber incidents are malicious. Some industries are more vulnerable than most due to the nature of their business and the amount of personal data that's required to operate their day-to-day business operations. Some examples are like the healthcare and financial institutions, but make no mistake, all businesses are susceptible to an attack. The data in question that they're looking for are any personally identifiable information like social security number, medical records, employee records, or any intellectual property. For the most part, operating digitally, like having a company website or processing payments electronically, can be exploited by threat actors, making every organization vulnerable if they don't have the right security measures in place. So a common misconception is that small to medium-sized businesses, they don't think they're susceptible to cyber incidents because they're too small or they don't use a lot of technology. But in fact, they are higher risk of cyber incidents occurring to them because they don't have the security measures in place, and they could also be used as point of entry targets into the larger organizations within their supply chain. Unfortunately, these problems are not going away anytime soon. And I have some data up here just to shape your idea of what this threat landscape look like. So on average, the annual cost of cybercrime to small and medium-sized businesses is 2.2 million. Secondly, 88% of cyber breaches are caused by human error. This is largely due to majority of the workforce not being able to identify a phishing attempt or spot a malicious email. Hacking occurs every 19 seconds, and 68% of business leaders feel like their cybersecurity risks are increasing, which is prompting them to look into cybersecurity or cyber insurance solutions. So that being said, every business, no matter its size, should have a cyber insurance policy. So going straight into it, like, what is cyber insurance? Basically, cyber insurance is a professional liability product that's designed to support and protect insureds in the event of a cyber incident or a data breach. So cyber insurance is all about protecting the insureds from these security-related risks. As digitization is increased in our world, same goes for the imminent threat of being exploited. The valuable data that we highlighted earlier in the slides, like social security number and intellectual property owned by the business, are at risk of being exploited or stolen. So I'm going to go into this in more detail coming up, but the financial protection that's provided by cyber insurance is categorized into first and third party coverage. So first party is for damages directly sustained by the insured, while third party coverage, like a general liability policy, is for damages inflicted on others. Right. So I'm going to start with first party loss. So first party loss is designed to lessen the financial impact on the insured themselves. This part of the policy will respond for damages directly sustained by the insured. And for simplicity here, I have categorized it into three coverages that are a perfect example of first party loss. First is business interruption or contingent business interruption, which is cost associated with the inability of the insured to conduct business due to a cyber incident. For the most part, extortion threats like ransomware do have an average downtime of 22 days, depending on the severity onto the insured. Secondly, coverage for cybercrime. So cybercrime is an umbrella term for any of the malicious attacks that's deployed on the web. Cybercrime comes in the form of phishing attacks, which is usually an email with a malicious link, social engineering, which comes in the form of manipulation or misleading a person. So an example here is if an accounting staff of a company is misled to transfer funds to the bank account of a cyber criminal that's posing as their vendor. So that's where social engineering coverage will come in. I also have ransomware on here, which is, like the name implies, when the files and computer systems of an organization are blocked or encrypted until a ransom payment is made. Invoice manipulation, which kind of akin to social engineering, is where if the vendor is actually breached and fraudulent communication is sent to an employee of the company, where they're mimicking the letterheads, the logo of the vendor, and asking for payment being made. For the most part, insured is not going to realize this until after the legitimate vendor reaches out for their payment, and then you realize you sent the money to the wrong person. Other first-party coverages are bricking, which is the cost for replacing damaged computer systems, and data restoration cost, which is cost to replace or restore any of the lost data. So right now, just to frame your mind again and remind us for what this coverage is for the direct damages sustained by the insured. Next, I do have an example of how a ransomware could happen. This is the usual MO of how ransomware attacks work, and it just shows like how one bad email or one click in a bad email can lead to $1 million extortion. So basically in this infographic, an employee clicks on a malicious email, phishing link email. So it could be, they could bait the person and like, oh, you have won a prize, or your Netflix account is about to expire. Click on this link to restore your account, or any different form. So basically, there is a triggering action that is implied within the email. The employee clicks on the link, and unknowing to them, a malicious code is downloaded and spread across the network. So within days or minutes, the malicious code encrypts the files of everyone in the network, every employee, and then the victim or the company receives a note with a deadline to make a payment. Usually these payments are requested in Bitcoin or foreign currency, and the payment is for access to an encryption key where they will be able to restore the data on their system. And like I mentioned earlier, for the most part, these type of attacks usually takes about 22 days to resolve. So depending on the organization, most of them cannot stand without doing business for 22 days. That could be crippling to a small business. So the next coverage classification is first-party expenses. So these are for coverage. This is coverage for costs that are directly associated to recovering after the incident. So first is the forensic investigation, where the claims team is going to deploy investigators to establish the scope of the incident. There's the incident response team, the cost of notifying your clients of the breach, the cost of providing credit monitoring services because of the attack, costs related to getting a public relation or crisis management team to help temper the reputational harm that's done to the business based on this attack on your system. Also costs for a ransom negotiator if it's still ongoing, or a breach response team. So these are a few of the coverages that fall under the first party expense. And last but not the least, we have third-party liability. This is similar to general liability. Third-party liability is for costs related to any monetary damages or expenses related to claims made against the insured. There are multiple reasons why this could come about, but for the most part, insured could get sued for not complying to the regulatory definitions of how they should protect data, or any of their clients that feel like they weren't cybersecurity conscious when dealing with their data. So this includes the legal defense, paying for settlements, responding to regulators' inquiries, and even PCI fines and penalties, depending on the industry. So I do have an example here that shows how third-party liability coverage could come in play. So in this example, a cloud service provider falls victim to a cyber incident, and one of its clients is a construction company. So the construction company essentially stores their data, or their clients' data, on this cloud service provider system. And due to the nature of the incident, the construction company is then obligated to notify over 10,000 of their past and present customers that their data was compromised. So as you can see, this is a third party. The incident actually happened to the cloud service provider, but the construction company turns out to be affected by this incident. So here are some estimated costs: 181,000 for incident investigation, 41,000 for customer notification, and 639,000 for defense and settlement. And these are costs that are associated to the construction company. In this case, looking at these bills, the construction company is definitely going to go after the cloud service provider due to their inability to protect their clients' data. So this is just a little example of how the third-party liability could come in play. Now that we understand the coverages, here are some underwriting considerations for placing cyber insurance for your clients. First off is the service industry. Industries like healthcare, financial services have more of a risk factor due to the amount of records they keep. The company size makes a difference with knowing how many employees are there, what's their claims history, understanding the security controls they have in place. That's a positive thing on the client's application, because you'll be able to understand if they're more secure than their peers, the policy limits that they require, the annual revenue, and the number of records that are attained or accessible. Another one is also their third-party vendors. What are their processes when accessing or accepting new third-party vendors? So these are just some considerations that determine the pricing for the most part when requesting cyber insurance. That being said, before I pass it on to Tim for the demo, do we have any questions so far?
Bimbola, I'm not seeing any questions at the moment.
Okay, Tim, over to you.
Perfect. Okay, sharing my screen. Hopefully you all can see my screen where it says get multiple cyber quotes in minutes. So one thing I'll just start with is
I think you might be on the your other
I'm
monitor.
on the screen. My apologies.
No worries.
Here we go.
Perfect. You see it now.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. So CID, we are a technology platform that connects you with multiple leading cyber markets, Cowbell being a very important one for us. So within minutes, you have access to these leading cyber quotes. And I'll show you how the process works here. But it really starts for you with a link. And I think Lexi can send you a link. It'll give you access. You click on that link and it'll take you to the screen that we're looking at right now. One thing I would point out, just Bimbola, an awesome job there. There are certainly industries that are more susceptible to cyber, cyber attacks, healthcare, financial services, tech companies. They hold a lot of data, healthcare data or personal data, but really cyber attacks affect all businesses of all sizes. If you use email in your business, you are susceptible to a cyber attack. I had a friend who is an insurance broker who told me about an attack that his company, he's a program manager, they've got some binding authority, so they send binders out to their retail clients. They had a criminal that got access to their email server through a phishing email that I'm sure you have all seen these types of emails. Someone clicked on it. It was from the bad actor. They got into the email server and they started creating fake binders and fake invoices and sending those out to their retail agents. What they're looking for is money, trying to reroute those wire or ACH transfers. And that can lead to a whole host of liability issues. So it really impacts all businesses and all industries. So let's start off. Once you click on the link, it's going to take you here to the starting point. You just put in some basic information, your name, your email address. By the way, it is going to have CID's contact information here. We work through wholesale brokers and program managers, cyber placement teams, the cyber experts. So just know that if you have questions about markets and coverage, you'll have some guidance. Put in a limit, retention option. We try to keep it simple at this point. I'll show you in a moment where you can change those limit and retention options, get different options. Put in the company name. So what this is querying a Dun & Bradstreet database. So put in the name of the risk or keyword and click search. If you see the name of your risk in that Dun & Bradstreet database, that gets updated every couple of weeks. So chances are good that you'll see your risk in that database. Select it. If you don't, for whatever reason, You can still get pricing. You'll click enter manually instead. You'll have to do a little bit of data entry on the next screen here. But if you do find that risk in the Dun & Bradstreet database, it's going to auto-populate a lot of the basic information we need. So the company name is pulled in, and this is an editable field. The website, and that's a real critical piece of information. Cowbell, along with our other carrier partners, they're using technology to really help small businesses improve their cyber position, their hygiene. So they're scanning websites, they're scanning servers, looking for vulnerabilities, and will provide that feedback to those small businesses. So that's a real value. So website is a key piece of information. The address pulls in. The revenue does not. We want to make sure that is as accurate as possible. There's a direct correlation to revenue and premium for a cyber policy. Try to keep it simple from an underwriting standpoint right now. The system is really flexible, and what that means is if you are trying to cross-sell cyber with your existing client base, maybe all you have is the name of the risk, the website, and the revenue, you can get pricing. If you have additional information, if you have underwriting information, we have a set of questions that you can pull up and answer those, and you'll get firmer pricing based on that. But this is a really great tool for cross-sell. One underwriting question that we do ask here is multi-factor authentication. As you probably saw on Bimbola's presentation, email and network access, those are two areas that cyber criminals are getting into. So using multi-factor authentication to protect your corporate email and your network, that's something that the underwriters are generally looking for. So if you know that your client does use MFA, and that's usually standard for like Microsoft Office 365. If you know they don't, you can select no, or if you just don't know, you can select I don't know. That then becomes the subjectivity of the quote. The industry classification, that pulls in from Dun & Bradstreet. If it doesn't, or you're not sure, we've got a little Google search that will help you. We've also created a GPT tool that actually scans the website, looks for keywords, trying to help confirm the industry classification so you don't have to put on the underwriting hat to make sure that it's classified correctly. The next step is to click Get Quotes. And what's happening is our platform is now pinging Cowbell, other markets, and we're actually pulling quotes in real time from them. We do ask on the first time you log in, you'll see this email referring to the resend email. Check your email. What we do here is we're actually setting up an account. So the next time that you log in to CID, you will be taken to a homepage, a dashboard where all of your quotes, all of your submissions will appear. So that's just a one-time thing that you'll see. Once you confirm the email, you will be taken here to the quote comparison page. So here you've got the various markets that are lined up that are on the platform. You'll see any questions here. You'll see first party, third party coverages lined up side by side. Here's that MFA question. So we tell you which market requires that and which market may not require that. And then you've got the premium listed down here at the bottom. The last piece is a proposal document. So being able to pull these quotes, access them very quickly, we think that's a big time saver, but we've also created a proposal document that you can simply click download proposal pack. You can pick and choose which markets you want to present on that proposal document. And that will generate a proposal that looks like this. Just to let you know, it is going to be co-branded. It'll have the CID logo. It'll have your logo on it as well. It's a great tool for presenting to your clients. And you're going to have the coverages broken out side by side with the different markets displayed here. You'll have a bit of a definition in the margin of the coverages. So we like to say you don't have to be a cyber expert to sell cyber insurance. Using these tools, we give you the side-by-side comparisons. You've got your cyber experts with Lexi to help you kind of guide you along the way. Some FAQs, questions we typically get from small businesses. What is first-party coverage as opposed to third-party? Why do I need a breach coach? And that's really important because the breach coach is the first responder. Cyber incidents are not like a slip and fall where you may have a claim in a couple of days or a couple of weeks down the road. These things tend to happen very quickly. It could be on the weekend, it could be a long weekend. Being able to reach out to a panel of experts to help you respond is really a key value for the standalone cyber policies, and Cowbell is a leader in that in their breach response. And then you've got some claim scenarios that are industry specific. So I entered a little diner down the street from my house here in Northern California. So we're giving you a ransomware scenario for another restaurant. Really small businesses, they want to know how they're impacted specifically. And what if there was a ransomware incident? They became a victim of ransomware. What might that look like if they don't have coverage? Well, there may be an extortion demand to the tune of $120,000. If their network is locked up and they can't access kind of key systems, they may be out of business for a couple of days. You may have a business interruption, incur additional expenses because of that. There may be a breach if customer information, credit card information was compromised. So all of these things could really add up. And there's probably not a lot of small businesses that have got $600,000 sitting around in their budget. Outdated software is another claim example that we see quite a bit. Social engineering, here's the one that Bimbola was talking about. We all see spoofed emails. Well, if you're unlucky enough or have an employee that is unlucky enough to click on one of these and you get a cyber criminal that's inside your network, they're doing things like creating fake invoices, like the example I gave, or looking for keywords, wire transfers, ACH transfers, rerouting that money. So not only are you potentially your client out of that money, but that could really invite some liability issues down the road. Lost hardware, this is still something we see quite a bit. Someone leaves an unencrypted laptop in the back of an Uber. Well, that could very well be a data breach requiring notification, or a former employee who takes some company information or employee information with them that as well would be a data breach. So all things that could trigger extra expenses and would be covered under a cyber policy. So that's really the output of the platform. Again, CID, they can send you the link that'll give you access to this portal, and you'll be able to generate these proposal documents. So that's really it for my end of it. Just wanted to send it back to Cowbell or Lexi if you have any final thoughts.
Awesome, thank you, Tim. I guess just a little bit of closing remarks on our end. Now that you are able to see the quoting process and all the cyber options provided here, I just want to take a few moments with a couple slides just to speak about the Cowbell differentiator. Comparing cyber policies is really apples to apples, and there's other things to consider when choosing the right provider for your clients, which is mainly value-added services. So I'll highlight a few, and let's talk about the Cowbell advantage. First thing I would like to highlight is our in-house cyber claim experts. With Cowbell, you will gain access to more than 50 years of claims expertise and superior services. As you can see, our claims team displayed on the screen. We do have a lot of credible and experienced people with diverse industry background as cyber claims experts. So with Cowbell, you don't get claims generalists, you're gonna get specialists that help you reduce the claim severity and increase your organization or your client's organization cyber resiliency after an incident happens. So they're very hands-on, and we have proven that with our claims promise, with over 100 million paid in claims since our inception in 2019. So that's a really big feat, and we're really proud of that number. And finally, what else that comes with a cowbell cyber insurance policy is personalized risk management services. So we aim to engage proactively with policyholders, monitor their threats, and work to improve their company's cyber posture, all at no additional costs. So policyholders will get direct access to our team of cyber risk experts, which meet with them. They do a full assessment and consultation in ways organizations can improve their risk exposure. So a lot of the services they provided are dark web reports, incident response plan templates, and even through our platform, we do offer insights for policyholder view within the platform. So in addition to free cybersecurity awareness training for all policyholders. So these are just a few of the value adds with the policy provided by Cowbell, just so you understand that with Cowbell, your clients get much more than just a cyber insurance policy. That being said, thank you everyone for listening, and I'll move it on to Lexi.
Thank you so much. And we actually have one question in the chat, which I can answer. The question is, can I get coverage for my own agency and receive a commission? So yes, you're more than welcome to quote your own insurance agency on the platform, and you would receive commission as well. You just would select the quote, and then to add to Tim's presentation, click continue to bind, and then actually from there, I will be notified that you would like to bind coverage, and then we would bind with the carrier. So it's a very user-friendly process. It's extremely seamless and easy. So we want to thank Sayada, and we also want to thank Cowbell for presenting and providing so much insight. And thank you so much to all of our agents for joining despite your busy schedules. Jacob will be sending out that RSA link to everyone today so you can get started on using the platform. And if you have any questions on a specific risk or questions in regards to the quoting process, please don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is listed on the slide, and I would be happy to help. So thank you again for your time, and we look forward to binding cyber business with you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lexi.